welcome back. And welcome to all the new dreamers who stopped by DawnDares2Dream today to see what we're all about. Well, you know, here at DawnDares2Dream, my whole goal is to help my dreamers to dream again. Because as we go through life, we tend to put our dreams on the back burner. And my goal here at DawnDares2Dream is to help you pick those dreams back up and to pursue them again. And today, the one thing that we need to do so that we can live the life of our dreams is to release and let go pain and hurt and trauma from the past. So I'm going to talk about my personal abandonment and neglect issues, because I know a lot of us out there have those issues. And then there's some what we deem as harsher issues that you grew up with. And so we don't really deal with our abandonment and our neglect. But I'm telling you, abandonment and neglect is a major player in us holding on to past pain, hurt, and trauma, because you don't even know you're doing it. In my example, I have forgiven my parents, who are the main culprits of like the neglect and abandonment that I feel. I've forgiven them, right? But you know, I was watching a TV show the other day, and it was called The Resident. And one of the doctors was a heart surgeon, and he was talking to this guy, and he recognized that he had abandonment issues, neglect issues, because he was adopted and looking for his birth parents. His birth parents did not want to have anything to do with him, okay? So this is what's going on the show. But as he begins to describe what abandonment does to you, as he describes the impact of it and the characteristics that you will carry if you have been abandoned or have suffered from neglect, and I'm telling you, it hit home. I got like a twinge in my stomach, and I got up and I went in the kitchen, because remember, I'm sitting out here with my son. So I got up and I went in the kitchen, and I cried a little bit, and I said, oh my Lord, I haven't let that go. But that's me recognizing my trigger. Now, if you go to Releasing the Past, Pain, Hurt, and Trauma, I do have a whole series about that. Go check that series out. I'm going to put it up here at the end of the video. It's going to be a link to go to that video. I talk about releasing your past pain, hurt, and trauma, and recognizing triggers and acknowledging when a trigger is recognized, really acknowledging the pain that you feel so that you can move on and heal from it. And so I am putting my lessons into practice today. So today's video is really going to talk about and concentrate on the symptoms of a person who has suffered neglect or abandonment in their childhood. So the first two I like to discuss are trust issues and giving too much to others. You know, trust issues is a big one for me. People always ask me, do I trust? And my question is, or do I trust men? Or why don't I have a husband? And I always tell them I trust him as far as I can see him. And that's the truth, y'all. I mean, I can't get more honest than that. And I've been asked, why don't you have a mate? You seem like this wonderful person. Why are you still single? I mean, you got a lot going on for yourself, but you're single. Makes no sense. You know why it makes sense? Because I have suffered from neglect and abandonment, and I haven't trusted any man enough to really cultivate a true relationship that could lead somewhere positive like marriage, because I don't trust. I have trust issues. I have a few friends in my life, but to be honest with you, I only have a couple people that I consider to be friends that I truly, really trust deep down inside. And we're going to get into how me not trusting has impacted, you know, all the relationships of my life further down in the video. We're also going to talk about today giving too much. I pride myself on being a really good friend. And that's because when my friends need me, I am there. But the catch is this: I tend to give too much of myself to others. That is why you hear me talk about self-love and self-care a lot on my channel, because that was something that I had to learn to do. Because as much as I want to do and be there and care for others, I wasn't caring for myself because I didn't make myself a priority. So that's another thing that I did as a person who suffered from neglect and abandonment. This is a big one for me, where I don't have the ability to be intimate, emotionally intimate with anyone. Maybe outside of one person. I've known her since I was a kid. My friend from Baltimore, I've known her for over 30 years at this point. So maybe, you know, that is probably why I do trust her and can be emotionally open and vulnerable with her. But I'm probably not as emotionally vulnerable as I should be. You know, I'm not open in that sense. I'm not vulnerable in that sense because of the trust issues. I don't step out there, you know, and that has a huge impact. So the reason why I'm going through all of these different examples, and there are more examples that I'm going to give you today, but I'm going through these examples so that you can understand where I am and where I'm living with my abandonment and neglect issues, and how I may be able to connect with you. Because if you're having any of these issues, there's some things that you may want to work on as well. Now, I am going to tell you that going to see a licensed therapist is like the best thing that you can do that can help you work through these issues. And now that I have identified my own issues, I'm probably going to seek some more therapy myself. You guys know I am bipolar, so I go see my psychiatrist, every so often. But I think I need to get back in talk therapy. I've been in talk therapy, but I could not think of anything at the present moment that I thought I wanted to talk through or work through. And now I've discovered that I have these abandonment and neglect issues or symptoms. So I'm like, okay, characteristics. So maybe it is something I have to talk about. So I'm going to sign myself back up for some therapy. And again, I will definitely walk you guys through any and everything that I learned. We have another one. It's a doozy. Feeling or needing to be in control, or feeling or needing to be controlled. And that's a little tricky one because I have a very controlled life. I do things the way that I do them. I typically don't allow many people into my daily routine because it's regimented and this is how I want to do it. And when other people come in, it goes awry and it kind of pisses me off. I'm not going to lie to you. I get kind of a little perturbed or upset when others come into my life and my space. I've invited them though, right? But they don't follow my rules. But that's not fair. Everyone doesn't even always know the rules. And if they do, should you be telling your rules? Like, is that okay? Is that like an extreme boundary? But I do know of an instance where I wanted to be controlled. And that was when I first moved here to Texas and I met my son's dad. He's a very controlling individual as well. And so what I did was I gave up my control for myself, and then he was a controlling factor in my life. And I did the things that he wanted me to do and that he requested. Like, for instance, I don't believe that you're bipolar, so let's take you off of these meds and let's see if you have, like, I think it's called personality disorder, something like that. And that disorder can develop from a person being abandoned or neglected. So he was right in probably his way of thinking. The issue is I had all the symptoms of a person who was or is bipolar. A big kicker or a symptom of suffering from childhood neglect and abandonment is that you may suffer from anxiety or depression, anxiety disorders or depression. And again, I have bipolar disorder, and they say that it can be either genetic or it could be environmental why you have it. I don't know which one it is for me, but I do know I lived in an environment that could cause me to be bipolar. Now, I don't know if I can undo everything that's been done over all this time, and I guess that's what the talk therapy will help me to understand, because I've never dealt with the deep down issue of abandonment or neglect within myself. I thought I was good with the things from the past and I had forgiven enough, but I'm realizing at the age of 46, and I'm about to turn 47, that abandonment and neglect has been guiding my whole life. And when I say my whole life, I mean it's been guiding my friendships, my relationships, and maybe as nice as I am and a wonderful person it is that I am, right? I would have more friends around. I would have more of a social life than I do. Now, I have a social life that I created, but it's me alone doing things and conversing or chit-chatting or interacting with people that I may or may not know that are already in the environment that I'm walking into, versus me coming with an entourage and enjoying the environment from that perspective. So maybe my life would take on more of an intimate path with those that I know once I deal with these issues. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the anxiety and depression. I think that when you suffer from abandonment issues, you suffer from neglect, there can be something that happens to your psyche, something that happens to your mind. I recall one time when I was about 12 years old, I'm going to say, where I felt like I was losing my mind. I felt like, for lack of a better way to say it, I was going crazy or losing touch with reality. And this was I was about 12 years old. And I called a family friend, and she actually came and got me and took me to her house for that night, because I was like, I can't do it tonight. And I know I'm always here alone, always by myself, and usually I can make it through. But that particular night, I didn't feel like I was going to make it through the night and still come out the same Dawn that I was that went into that day. And I appreciate her for helping me along the way. And I don't even know if she knows who she is at this point, because I don't know if she remembers this particular instance the way that I do. But I believe that night saved my life. The last abandonment symptom we're going to talk about is people pleasing. When I was younger, not anymore, but when I was younger, that was one that lived strong in me. That was always on my mind. I wanted to make sure that people liked me, because to me, if I was doing what I was supposed to do and trying to be as perfect as I could be, that they would be there. When I used to come to Texas and live with my dad, I used to try to be this perfect kid. But the issue is I always have some kind of outburst. Something would happen where he would want me to go back home, and because there's no such thing as perfect. I can't be perfect. You know, I'm going to have situations where you're not going to like what I do, but I lived a life of trying to be perfect for a very, very long time. Thank God I'm not that person anymore. But what I want you to take away, my dreamers, from this short talk of some of the symptoms for suffering from abandonment and neglect. Now, there are tons more. Go out there and Google it. Get yourself a therapist, like I said. But there are a lot more symptoms out there. I just picked out the ones that really resonated with me. But I'm just trying to shine light on this issue, because if you are like me, you aren't really connected to that. If you are a successful person, and you know, I consider myself to be pretty successful, right? I would never think that abandonment and neglect will be impacting my life the way that it is. And I had said this year, and I've been working myself up to this, that I really want a true mate in my life. I really want a true love. I've never really been in love at all my entire life. And I said, I want to do that. You know, whether I get hurt or not, I want to do it. But I think I needed this trigger to pop up so that I can deal with some of these issues and not run from the love that I'm supposed to, you know, accept. Because abandonment and neglect will have you running from people that you shouldn't. I've been doing this my whole life. I could be married with 10 kids by now, y'all. I could have been, but I kept running. Every decent person that I felt that it could really be something, I always turned and ran. That's my name. You know what I'm saying? You know, my middle name is Run, Dawn. So if you're like me, you have some abandonment issues that you have never really connected with. But what I need you to take away from this video is go throughout your day, go throughout your life, and if you feel any like twinge or different or sad or hurt when you're hearing a conversation, watching a movie, dealing with someone, whatever it is, that trigger that comes, don't just shove it down. Acknowledge it and figure out a way, like I'm doing, to move through it. And my way is I'm going to get me some therapy. But before I get me some therapy, I'm going to do my YouTube videos along the way, because you guys know you're my therapy, right? All of these videos that I have here on YouTube, they are really about me and my experiences in life and how I've overcome them. And now I'm sharing them with you. And sometimes in this case, I'm working through the issue as I'm making the videos with you. So here I am, laying it all on the line, and I am hoping that you are getting something from this. And remember, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also, remember there's a share button down there with an arrow. Share this video to Facebook. And there's comments down there. So if you have any questions or anything, leave me a comment down below. And then my face is going to be up here in a circle. So I want you to click on my face, select the gray bell, select all. That way you'll be subscribed to my channel and you'll be alerted to all the new content that I place up here to YouTube. And then I'm going to put my series, Releasing the Pain, Hurt, and Trauma. Go check it out, because it details how to get rid of things and like a process to go through. And always remember, therapy's great. So if you can find one-on-one therapy, group therapy, I love therapy. Have a great day, dreamers.